Do you love to cook and bake? Why not have the kitchen of your dreams and stock up with Pampered Chef this season? From kitchen shears to measuring cups or stainless steel cookware, Pampered Chef has all of your kitchen essentials and accessories to help you cook with ease and comfort. Prepare meals for friends or the whole family? Interested in learning more or hosting a party? Reach out to Teresa on Facebook by searching Cooking with Teresa or visit her website, www.pamperedchef.com/PWS/TRogers5.
Hey everybody, it's time. It's time for the first episode of Duty Calls and BS Falls. Stay with me here and give it a view and tell me what you think. Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon. This is Kirk Rogers. And as I promised, today is the first pilot episode, the first broadcast ever of my podcast called Duty Calls BS Falls. A little bit about me. I'm just an old man that likes to sit around and think about different things and has a lot of things I want to talk about. I'm retired. I've been retired for about 11 and a half years. With me today, I have my guest, Rudy Huber. Rudy's here with us.
Hello, Kirk.
Rudy's here with us. Rudy just retired after 49 years in farming. And he's going to be here to talk about the topic we're going to talk about today. I also have with me, I have Jared and Jordan Baird.
How's it going?
Two of my very good friends. You know, this started out, these guys were just going to be my guests, but Jordan and Jared, they're going to be my sidekicks for the every time we do a podcast.
Glad to be
my sidekicks. So anyway, before I get started, Rudy, congratulations on your retirement. And, you know, I was there with you a lot of those years. We had a good time out with the farming. Is there anything you want to say about that?
The last 11 years, you've been very valuable, not only in the farming, but just in informational. If I have something to ask, Kirk is one that'll give his opinion, and that's what he's going to give us here today on Duty Calls.
Well, I appreciate that. What about you guys? What do you guys got anything you want to say before we get going?
Just happy to be here. Thank you for asking us to be on your podcast with you. And
sure.
Glad we're doing it with Rudy. It's going to be a good time.
I think it's badass.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I guess my first question for you guys is it okay to wear sweatpants when you record a podcast?
Sure.
Because I'm wearing sweatpants. So, you know, is that okay?
You look great.
All right. Anyway, you know, I thought a long time ago about having a podcast and what I wanted the podcast to be and to talk about things that are not only important to me, but important to all of us. And from the very beginning of when this concept or this idea got started, my first topic for the first podcast was always going to be the same. I never wavered from what that was. And what we want to talk about today is something that I don't think that the regular person knows about. And it is the amount of millionaires and billionaires that come into our area here and buy up all of our good farm ground. And then the mega farmers farm it, and the generational farmers and the young guys that are trying to get into farming don't have a chance at having a chance at farming it. And that's what I want to talk about. So anyway, we're going to get started here, and you guys jump in anytime when you got something you want to say, and we'll go from there. But as we all know, there's plenty of millionaires that are coming in and they're just buying up the black farm ground around here like crazy. We were looking today at lunchtime and how much the price of an acre of farm ground has increased over the past 15 years. 15 years ago, you could buy an acre of farm ground for $7,000 to $10,000, and today you're paying anywhere from $16,000 to $22,000 for an acre of farm ground. And that's because these people come in with all this money and they just throw money at it and buy it and buy it and buy it. And I believe that they're overpaying for this ground.
Well, that's what a lot of us think anyway, Kirk. And when I started farming in 1976, that was not a thing. The people that bought ground were almost generally all farmers that actually farmed it themselves. When I was these two guys his age, then you went in and you might have a neighbor down the road is going to retire, and then he may come down and ask you and your family to farm his ground. Well, and that still happens today, but there's another avenue too that people want to bid up and pay a high cash rent now just so they can farm that extra 200 or 300 acres, or maybe 700 or 800 acres. But it takes a lot of money anymore to put in an acre of corn or an acre of soybeans. And if you say you're spending $200 an acre or $300 or $400 an acre for inputs, you don't maybe think it's that much, but when you multiply that by maybe 2,500 times, then it starts to get serious money. And when you're going to borrow money from the bank for input costs, then, we all know what the interest rate is nowadays and what we have to pay for a home loan. And that all factors into all this too. So, a lot of people do it, but right now we are not that type of people to do that. So
I think that what they pay for this farm ground, that drives a lot of what they have to have back to charge a farmer to farm that. And it takes these mega farmers to come in and pay the cash rent and to pay for the inputs. And a guy like you, you can't make any money doing that.
It's sad. It's funny you mentioned that. I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he's a farmer, an older gentleman, and I asked him what he was up to, and he goes, I'm helping another individual today, and it wasn't farming, wasn't doing anything with the farm, and he's like, farming just isn't paying right now, which is it's really sad to hear. Not a huge farmer, isn't going to go out and pay all that high cash rent. It's just unfortunate the way that it's come to that. So.
Sure.
Older farmer got to go out and, go get another job or got to go do something else other than farm. And you hate to see that, but that's just, it's the way it's going. And it's unfortunate that it's come to that.
He's trying to make ends meet. What
Yep.
he's trying
Yep.
to do. And he's probably not used to that because he's never done it. You guys farm with your dad. Your dad's a generational farmer. He farmed with your grandpa.
Yep.
And then you had great grandfathers that farmed also. And I
I
know that your dad's wanted to grow your farm, but there's
Yep.
been constraints.
Yeah, and I want to add to what you guys are saying. I think a lot of this is very political, and it's tough for people like us that aren't, that are just kind of to ourselves and just like local, right? And because we don't get too involved in that, and unfortunately, we're the ones that suffer because of that. And so, we're talking about us, but the way I look at it is we have kids too, and the future of farming there's nothing guaranteed anymore. And as hard as it is for us, it's going to be even that much harder for our kids to farm.
Exactly.
It's tough.
Yeah, sure is.
well, and getting on that same point, it's a lot different than when Kirk and I grew up, whether it's in your line of work that you're in or my line of work in farming. Back in the day, a handshake was good enough. But nowadays, you might better have a handwritten contract in your hand before you go and spend a lot of money to maybe purchase equipment to farm additional ground.
Mhm. I think one of the things that bothers me is that there's mega farmers out there that will just go out and seek and lobby. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that. And you got to do what you got to do to increase your stuff. But if a farmer that gives up a piece of ground because he retires or whatever it is, if he makes a recommendation for somebody to go in and farm something, you find out that a mega farmer has already been playing it from behind the scenes and they've already worked it out to go pay some big amount of cash rent or whatever to grab that piece of ground. That I think that bothers me that the young guys they never get a chance. I mean, we have a friend that lives south of where we are right now that has a son and another young man working for him that are trying to build up a farm, and it's just so difficult for them to do it because of what goes on with the with the millionaires coming in and buying it, and all they're doing is investing money. They
Right.
don't care about the farm ground.
Right.
Yeah, it's farming is evolved into this game now, and we talk about it here today about kind of where it's going, and it's been going on for a while now, and I think it's good we're bringing this topic to light because I think it's something that not a lot of people know about. People look at farmers and they think it's this lavish lifestyle, but really it's like we do struggle as farmers, and it's just it's unfortunate.
And most of us that farm, it's not a job. I've never thought of my farming as a job. I was fortunate to be born into a farming family, and it's more of a passion. And many of us are born with that passion, and it's not just a job or a paycheck. And I enjoyed my cattle when I had cattle, even in the winter, going out and grinding feed, making sure the ice was not frozen in the cattle tank, and just spending time out there. And it's a great place to raise a family too. And your children knew what you did, where you worked. They come out to the field and they get to enjoy something that most children in the United States do not ever know about. So I think that's advantageous. I remember the day the FFA, local FFA program came out and visited us. You were there, and we spoke with them and got to let them drive the grain cart and the tractor and the combine around. And they thought that was unbelievable. And at that time, we had nice equipment, but we spent a lot of time in that equipment too. And then we have to count on that equipment to run and hopefully not break down during this course of the season, because it's time consuming when you have to stop, and that brings everything along the way to a stop. So if the combine breaks down, the grain cart breaks down, and stops, the semis have to stop. Everybody's standing on the end. So, but that's just the way it is, and we know that. So most of us have preventive maintenance, and we spend the time and spend the money to hopefully not have to stop during the season.
But then that cuts into your bottom line though too.
Oh, it does.
Having that stuff,
And you never know when the weather is going to break.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. I can hear my watchdogs. Yeah, they're keeping an eye out on everything upstairs. Actually, we're filming in my basement. It's kind of like the movie Wayne's World. They filmed Wayne's World in the basement, so that's kind of what we're doing too. We're filming in the basement. I came up with a good name for our studio, but my wife didn't like it too much, so we're not going to talk about what that was.
She's a censor.
Exactly. But back to that, you talk about the the FFA kids coming out and things. Those kids deserve a chance too.
Right.
And I mean, the only thing they've got going for them is they may have to get a job working for one of the mega farmers, because that's all there is available because of buying all that farm ground up.
Yeah.
And that's just exactly what it is. And it's like I said, they don't necessarily care about the ground. They're doing it as an investment. The mega farmers come in, they buy it. They're able to pay the high dollar cash rent for this ground, and nobody else gets a chance.
Yeah, man, farmers really are a different breed when you think about it, because even the way things have gone for smaller farmers such as us in the past several years, it's like Rudy said earlier, it really is a passion. You grew up doing it. It's something in your blood. We're the sixth generation in our family to do it. Our kids, if they choose to do it, they'll be the seventh, and it really is something that is very emotional when you think about it. But you still wouldn't choose any other lifestyle, even when it does get hard. You wouldn't choose You wouldn't choose it any other way. So it's definitely a passion.
Looking for something sweet to brighten your day? Stop by Dessert First Bakery in downtown Tuscola, located at 117 West Sales Street. From warm, fresh-baked morning muffins to delightful afternoon cookies and macaroons, there's always something delicious waiting for you. Owned by Samantha Baird, this beautiful new bakery in downtown Tuscola is bringing all of the feel of Urban City Bakery with the small-town atmosphere. Whether you're treating yourself or grabbing something to share, Dessert First has a flavor for every craving. They're open Thursday through Sunday from 9 to 2, so swing in, indulge a little, and remember, at Dessert First Bakery, dessert isn't just a treat, it's a priority. Stop by and see them at Sam's brand new storefront.
I hope that the president does what he said and he comes out with that tariff money to help the farmers.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of them out there that need that assistance.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. I hope that gets done, and I think that he can do it. I'm just afraid that the bureaucracy is going to get involved before it gets done. Is what I'm afraid of. They all say that it isn't because it's tariff money that he can spend and whatever the case may be, but somehow the Congress, there's going to be bureaucracy get involved in it. I guarantee it there will. And I wish they really have a farm bill again. I don't think there's been a farm bill since President Trump's first term. I don't think that the last administration ever did have a farm bill for farmers.
Right.
I don't think so.
Mhm.
And getting back to the ground sales and stuff, people don't realize too that that's a big factor on everybody, because when these millionaires and billionaires, when they come in to buy the farm ground and they overpay for it or drive the price up to buy it, well, then that triggers reassessments, and you get assessed. And then whenever the assessments come out, well, their taxes are going to be this, so everybody else's is going to get raised because of the price they paid for it. That just triggers all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
I realize that, because people will get on you for saying that property taxes are a problem of the state or our fantastic governor. And did you see yesterday he signed a bill for the Chicago transit bailout?
No, I
And
didn't see
he
that.
said that all Illinoisans are going to benefit. So all of us here, we're going to benefit from them.
Well, I
right
guess
on that.
I'll have to go up and ride
You see what I'm
the
saying?
CTA because I've never been on it.
So they
Pay your
didn't
money
raise the
worth.
cost to rise the CTA, but when you take the toll road to go up and get on it, it's going to cost you more because they raised the cost of tolls. So anyway, that's just a little bit of a sidebar, but all Illinoisans are going to benefit from him raising that
Awesome.
money to do that.
I can't wait.
Well,
anyway.
and this, getting back on a comment about the farm bill, well, a lot of people don't realize in that farm bill, it's just called the farm bill, but the largest benefactors on the farm bill is the SNAP program, the nutrition program, and all the food bills that come through there that feed unfortunate people. And that's where that goes. So farmers as a whole across the United States really only see maybe 10% or less to divvy up between all the farmers in the United States
Right,
on that.
right.
That's a good point.
And that's not every year. Hopefully, nobody wants that every year. We'd rather have good commodity prices on corn, soybeans, wheat, cotton, whatever it is, and make our money there, because we'll make more money there than if we have low prices like we've been dealing with here for the last 3 years, and to where the government gets in, because we all know what the government can and can't not do. So that's just
They're
the
not
way
your
that
friend.
is.
They're not your friend. They got one.
Well, they need to get it worked out for the exports too. We
Yeah.
need to be
Right.
exporting a lot more
Yeah.
grain. If we
Yep.
get the exports going, that's going to drive the price up, and you're going to get more for your crop.
Yeah.
But I got off on a tangent on the wonderful CTA bailout bill,
It's all right.
but I realized that property taxes are a local problem, because people will straighten you out and tell you, "Oh, that's not a problem of the governor or anything. That's a local problem." But still, when there is an overpayment of stuff, it still triggers reassessments, and everybody's taxes go up. It does.
Mhm.
So that's something else that happens by them coming in and buying all this ground. So
Yeah.
it sure does.
It's a good topic.
It sure does. One other thing, well, I'm gonna have a solar panel. I'm gonna have a solar panel
Oh, that's
field
right.
here right
Yeah,
down
we
the
can talk
road
about
for
that.
me. Heck
That's
yeah.
yours?
No, it's not mine, but we've got 100 acres of solar panels that are gonna come out here in the country, out here east of where I live, and well, I just don't know what I think about that. Gonna litter up the neighborhood. I guess I can understand why the landowner wants to do that. I mean, it seems to be
There's a lot of money getting waiting in front of these
there-
landowners.
it seems to be pretty lucrative for him
That-
to do it.
Yeah, and you know what? I want to add something to that. So I don't know. I don't want to speak to that landowner, but I think that's going to be a common theme that we see as well in the next 10 years, 20 years, or at least the next couple generations is as this land gets passed on. So like, for example, we're farming some land that we have some, older landlords and they're very, very gracious with us. They're very fair about how we, split outputs and inputs and all that. And um, as land gets passed down to these future generations of kids, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. They're going to be seeing these dollar signs getting waved in front of their faces, and there's going to be more wind turbines, there's going to be more solar panels, and then we're going to be losing out on farmland to farm because of that. It's only the only person that's going to not benefit from that is the American farmer when that was the land that they were farming, but it was the landlords ultimately, and they got to make the decision on what they wanted to do with that land.
Absolutely.
Well, and on that point too, a lot of us don't realize we're just talking about a 100-acre solar panel farm down here. And, that's the other thing that kind of irks me. They call it a farm, but it's not a farm. It's not producing grain or stocks for cattle feed or for human consumption. But, but it makes it feel good to the consumer in these large cities. Oh, it's a solar farm or a wind farm. And I just think we've been sold a bill of goods on all that, because that 100 acres, that's just here, just down the road, but there might be 10,000 or 25,000 each year coming out of production. And it's not out in the desert by Palm Springs that they've got windmills out there. That's fine out there. They don't raise anything. Can't even grow a weed out there. But here, at some point in time, it won't be in our lifetime, but you're going to have the farmer keep increasing their yields in order to feed the growing population, not only of the United States, but of the world. And we've got the best farm ground in the world here in the I-states, especially. So at some point, something may have to give to where you could only buy this much at the grocery store because we don't have enough acres to raise this, or maybe we had a drought.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people may think I'm far-fetched on that, but it's very possible.
And you know what I'm hearing you say, Rudy, is I'm hearing you say all of these things, like all these variables that you're talking about, whether it is the yield or a drought, like none of those things are in our control. When you look at yield, that is up to crop genetics, and scientists are doing everything they can to increase yields in these crops. And
they've done a wonderful job.
Yeah, they've done a great job. But ultimately, like, science can only go so far so fast. It takes a long time to express these genes in these crops, and like you said, they're doing a great job, but that's out of our control. And you look at Mother Nature, like that's completely out of our control. And if those things don't line up in our favor, then we got a big problem on our hands.
Right.
Mother Nature is the biggest factor in
Yeah,
all
it
of that.
is.
You're
Yeah.
going to get a good
Yeah.
genetically a good genetic seed, but
Yeah.
Mother Nature is in the big control of
Yeah.
who
The
gets
Lord
what,
himself.
and getting that rain at the right time when
Mhm.
germination's coming in and all that stuff. But this piece of ground that we're talking about with these solar panels are going on, I know it well. And it's a good piece of dirt. It really is a good piece of dirt. It's got tile under it. It's got all kinds of stuff. And them going in and drilling those holes and putting those solar panels in, they're just going to completely ruin the infrastructure of that. And someday it's going to go back to farm ground. It's gonna. And who's going to clean it up? And what kind of a mess is it going to be? It's just going to be something to see. And I am not against solar power or
No.
wind power or anything like that. I just think there's places for that stuff, and maybe good fertile farm ground's not the place for it. You have an empty facility west of Tuscola where the old chemical plant used to be. You can't do anything with that. You can't farm it. That's a great place for solar
It would
panels
be.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just. I guess I understand why the landowner wants to do it, because it's like you mentioned, Rudy, that's big money.
It is.
And that would be very enticing. And to piggyback on what you said, the younger generations of people that own farm ground that have been in families forever, and you guys have seen this happen with some of it that you had.
Yep.
they just want to sell it because they've got the dollar signs in their
Yeah.
eyes. Whether it doesn't have to be for solar panels, it could just be because they want the money.
And it's only going to get worse.
Yeah,
There's a
and
lot
it's
of money
only gonna
being
get
thrown
worse.
around.
And then that falls back onto what we're talking about, because then the prices are so high, the millionaires and the billionaires, they come in and buy it up, and then the mega farmers farm it because they're the only one that can afford it, because they have all their LLCs and everything and move stuff
Yeah.
around and whatever, and they're the only ones that can afford to farm it.
It's just full circle.
So
Well, and people since the turn of the century have gotten away from farming, and there used to be, I think back at the turn of the century, give or take, 70% of the population of the United States, I believe, were farmers. Well, now they say it's 2%, but that includes the person that's a truck farmer or has a garden patch of 5 acres or 10 acres. It's not someone that's actually feeding the population. So I'm going to say we're less than 1% of the population.
Yeah.
But that being said, my kids and the families we farm with, they grew up on farms and they've been around farms. And that makes a difference on what you feel about what you want to do going forward if you inherit your parents' ground. And I'm okay with people selling it, but it's happening more and more often now.
yeah, it sure is. Sure is. Happened a lot. I don't know. You guys.
Okay, I got something else on this solar and this wind. I'm very skeptical, and I have been for years since they started coming out with it. These solar and wind companies, they say, and they are supposed to have money put back for down the road if this thing goes broke or is now defunct, whether it's in 10 years, 20, 30. But who is supposed to police that they do have enough money to put that ground back to farm ground?
I agree.
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
Right.
is there some court that
And like, what's the
watches
standard?
that?
Like, what's the standard? What's back to normal? Like, how do you,
Right.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, define that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that goes into a contract or goes into something when a county or a township makes an ordinance to allow them in there. I don't know if it's something that gets added into that, but that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because even though they say it's there, it doesn't mean it does.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I could tell you, hey, you know what? Go ahead and buy that. I got $1 million. I got you covered, and I've got $10 in my pocket. You know, same difference. You know, so who knows who really does do that?
Right.
So I know that they've got big money behind them.
Yep.
They've got big money behind them. I don't know that there's going to be any more federal subsidies on them at the end of the year, but they're still doing stuff, and there's big money behind them somewhere. Don't know where it's at.
Question: do you guys? Because I just don't know the answer. Do you know why they put these solar panels and these wind turbines on fertile land? Do you know why they put them there?
I do
I
not.
honestly do not
It
know.
would just be up to the farmer that allows it to happen.
I don't know. I mean, why not?
Well, when they first
still-
started
why
talking
not
about
put 'em in
wind,
the desert? Why
I
not
think
put 'em-
years ago, they were out in places where Oklahoma or out where the California winds come across, where there was serious wind out there. They said there wasn't enough wind here in central Illinois.
Yeah.
Well, apparently that's changed.
I don't know.
Well,
Because I had the same thought as you. Put them out in the desert. You know, put
Yeah,
them somewhere
exactly.
like that. You know, that isn't fertile land that does have high winds. You know, I guess I just don't know why they came over there.
They put these over here on this ridge for a reason. These are on a ridge. That ridge is up in Flat County. I don't know, but I'm with you. I don't know. I think they just go fishing, and they just fish and they talk to whoever,
Yeah.
and whoever bites on it
Yeah.
and says, "I want the money."
because
That's
they
where
don't
they
care.
go.
They don't care.
And they
don't care.
sneak
That's what I
around
think.
and they get signatures of people without even advertising that, hey, we're going to be in your area 2 months from now to sign up people, so that keeps the anti-power people from maybe trying to put a stop to them.
Well, I know that this one that's going in down here, they wanted that location I know they approached the farmer about anything he owned that was along this service line that runs out in the
Yes.
front of my house here, because they have to be close to that service line
Gotcha.
and get them to go.
Gotcha.
I know that was one of the big points
Yeah.
of getting it. So, but
Hmm.
oh well. Anyway, anybody else got anything else they want to talk about? Got anything on your mind? What's on your mind? I'm just excited and I'm going to benefit. I'm just excited and I'm going to benefit from the transit bill. I just want to get a
You
hotel
take your
room.
family up there
Yeah,
now?
I just want to get a hotel room and go to Chicago
Sounds
and just
all right.
ride the CTA. That's
Ride
what
all
I
day
want
long.
to do. Just ride it all day long, from train to train to train. You know.
There's you'll have to look this up, or you viewers can. There's a song about the guy that got on the CTA. I think he's in Boston, and he couldn't get off. He just kept going around and around and around. It was one of the folk singing groups back in the 60s.
Yeah, that'd have been pretty good.
Well, they're going to make a new one about Kirk riding the CTA.
That's it.
Hey, that ought
We
to
have a
be,
podcast on there.
hey, that ought to be his thumbnail for the first video. Just
Yeah. But I heard and I know I brought it up 2 or 3 times, but that happened yesterday, and I read something on social media that said, yeah, the governor, he's out and saying how this is going to be for all Illinoisans. And I'm like, all right, thank you. You know, it's like, holy cow. But that's, anyway, that's just a whole nother topic and a whole nother day, is getting into stuff like that. But anyway, I think this has been a good first podcast. I think that we've talked about the things we want to talk, that we've talked about. We haven't beat them to death, but we just sit there and
It's
brought it
just a
out in
tip
front of
of the
everybody's
iceberg.
face,
Yeah.
Yeah, right, yeah.
and tell everybody
Tip of the
how it is.
Yeah.
The goal for the podcast, for you viewers out there, is we're going to do them once a month, is what we're going to do. If something happens, we might do 2 a month. It just all depends. Or if I get a bunch of comments and emails and I need to go reply to people, I may just have one that's just me and these guys, and we'll come on here and
We'll
just
field them.
we'll field the questions and talk about stuff. So that's kind of where we're at.
And if anybody's in large cities, and hopefully some of you will watch this, you ought to come down and visit sometime. It's a different area. It's a slower pace. It's rural area. Everybody knows one another, and you'd be surprised at how many good people there are in smaller communities, and you can ask for help, and they'll come and help you.
Exactly.
And they don't expect any pay. They'll come and help you. Certain farmers, different years, somebody gets sick, they get hurt, maybe pass away, and one day a bunch of farmers in unison, they show up and they harvest all his crop, and a local fertilizer company may supply fuel and may supply food for everybody. But that's just what we do down here.
that's a fun thing to be
Yeah,
involved in.
Then in the competition then.
No,
Yeah.
that's just being a good neighbor.
Yeah,
That's right.
That's
something
what
fun
it
to be
is.
a
It's
part of.
being a
Yes.
good neighbor. It's being a good neighbor. Don't and doing good deeds and helping people. That's what we're all about here. And I am not against people doing good deeds at all. It's just, man, be careful at the end of my driveway and don't tear the asphalt up, because I'm the one that has to clean it up and fix it. And whoever did it, I love you for cleaning it out, but it's just, be careful. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, I wasn't going to say anything about it, but it just got to the point. So,
You'll sleep better than
yeah. But anyway, we're going to do these once a month, maybe more if we need to, but we're going to hit hard topics. We're going to talk. We're going to have fun stuff too. I mean, next month we're going to have some fun stuff.
There'll be some bullshit falling.
Oh yeah, we're going to be talking to 3 ladies that have businesses around here that you people need to know
There you
about.
go.
We're going to talk to them next month. In February, I've got a gentleman coming in that's a Republican candidate for sheriff in Douglas County that I want all of you people to meet.
That'd be
He's
a
a
great one.
good fella. He's a good man. So that's what we're going to do, but we're not going to fluff it with bullshit. There's not going to be any bullshit. I'm actually proud of myself. We've been here for 40 minutes or so, and I actually haven't said a whole bunch of cuss words because I cuss like a sailor. I had a boss at one time in my life that told me I could use the F word as a noun, verb, adjective, and a pronoun in a sentence. So anyway, I feel pretty good to the fact that I haven't done a lot of cussing, but you may hear some of that, and you may hear some topics that you don't agree with, and everybody's entitled to
Oh,
their
yeah.
own opinion. But we're entitled to our opinion. You're entitled to yours. Everybody can think what they want to think and all that. But if you get offended, you can always drive on. You don't have to watch. So with that being said, I think we're gonna close here. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Thank you for having us
Appreciate it. Of course, you guys will
Yep.
be here next month. Rudy, you have a
Appreciate-
standing invitation that you can come to this podcast anytime that you want.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
I appreciate that. And me being a Huber, and as my family and my siblings understand, where most of us aren't shy about speaking, and sometimes I speak too much, and then Kirk will have to whoa me.
Yeah, well, that's okay, but I
But that's what friends do.
Well, and I appreciate your friendship, and I always have. And you and I are buds, and like I said, you have a standing invite to come here
Okay.
anytime you want. Okay. Well,
Perfect.
We love you, Rudy.
We love you too.
We're going to close out, and we're closing out. We'll see you next month. The one thing that I'm going to tell you that you need to never forget, you don't have to take any shit off of anybody.
That's right.
We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
This episode of Duty Calls BS Falls is brought to you by Within Your Reach Marketing, located in Arthur, Illinois. Lexi Taylor and her team bring a variety of marketing services to small and medium businesses located in Illinois, including social media management, website creation, print media, and marketing consulting. Are you a small business looking for change in 2026? Give Lexi and her team a shout out on Facebook, Instagram, or their website, withinyourreachmktg.com. From Chicago to Cairo, Within Your Reach Marketing is here to help the small business owners who aren't sure where to start and help their dreams grow. Duty Calls BS Falls can highlight your business. We are looking for small businesses that are interested in being featured as a sponsor in our podcast. If you're a friend of the show or the host, family member, or just interested in being featured here to get the word out about your business, send an email to dutycallsbsfalls@gmail.com with your inquiry and business description. We'll get back to you with additional details. Note, Duty Calls BS Falls is a political and opinion-based podcast located in Douglas County, Illinois.